They say there are things in the shadows that we can't see or understand. I never believed in such things, but I can assure you there are things we can't explain or even defend ourselves from. Why am I saying that? Because I was a witness to one of the most horrible things I ever saw in my life. Me and my roommate lived in a small apartment in New York. He worked at a coffee shop near our house, and I worked as a cab driver. Life was okay, I guess. We got by, but one day everything changed. When we when we heard those screams. The screams came from our neighbor's house, so we called the cops. When the cops came and talked to our neighbor, they said she was fine and there was no screaming. We thought we thought maybe someone else was watching TV and forget to turn the volume down. So we didn't really think about it. But the next night, we heard this screaming again. We called the cops again, and they didn't find anything. The next night, the same thing happened. The cops thought we smoked something and told us if we ever called again, they would arrest us. But the next night, we heard this screaming again. We asked our neighbors, and they said they didn't hear anything. It was weird. The next night we heard the screaming again, and the next night, and the next night. It felt like slowly losing your mind. I couldn't take it anymore. So I started working night shifts. My roommate stayed. At that point, I didn't really care anymore. You could say I was selfish, but well, every morning when I came home, my roommate would describe the screaming. He said it was getting closer, that it was getting clear what that thing was screaming about. He told me the screaming was like a call of hope. I didn't understand how a screaming could be hope, because to me, it sounded horrible. Like someone being tortured and scream in pain. I told him that. He said I was wrong, but I was too tired to talk about it. And to be honest, I didn't want to talk about it. The next day, he told me the screaming had turned into words. Someone was screaming, "Dance." I didn't want to think about it. So I told him I was tired and I went to bed. I went to the work next night thinking about moving out. It felt like the logical choice. And I wanted to talk to my roommate about it. Maybe he should move too. When I came home that morning, I saw my roommate dancing in the living room with no music. When I asked him why he was doing that, he told me it made the screaming happy when he danced. He said the screaming turned into laughter when he danced. I thought he was losing his mind. And I was right. After that, every morning when I came home, I find him dancing like a madman. I couldn't take it anymore. So I started looking for a new place. The day I decided to tell him I was moving out, he was dancing again. I told him to sit and we started talking. He told me the screaming was happy now, so I should stay. It was weird, but I told myself maybe he was right. Maybe the scream was happy now and wouldn't bother us anymore. That night I decided not to go to work. We were watching a movie when my roommate got up, turned off the TV and started dancing again. He was right. The screaming was now laughter. Horrible, disturbing laughter. I got angry and stopped my friend from dancing. He told me I should have done that. The laughter stopped and turned into a scream of rage. It hurt my ears so bad it felt like they were bleeding. The strange part was that it felt like I was the only one hearing it. I left the apartment. When I came back in the morning, my roommate was gone. I tried his room, but the door was locked. I went to his workplace, but he wasn't there. A day passed and I couldn't find him. So I called the cops. I explained everything, but they didn't believe me. I asked the neighbors about him. They looked at me like I was crazy and told me I had always lived alone. When I came back to the apartment, I broke into his room. It was empty. It was like no one had ever lived there.